Hello, this is from Vijayakumar, Department of Physics, SNS College of Engineering. The next topic I am taken from the crystal physics is a growth of single crystal solution. Growth technique is a Bridgeman method. So the crystal is formed in a different phases: solid solid, liquid solid and gas solid. The especially liquid solid, it's a form of in a different categorized ways: melt, flux, solution, hydrothermal and gel. The melt is classified in 5 categories: Zeralski, Bridgeman, Verneuil, then Kyrophos, zoning. So we have discussed to the topic from this presentation is called form of Zeralski's and Bridgeman. So the Bridgeman technique, also known as Bridgeman Stocker-Berger method, is one of the oldest technique to the form of growing in a crystals. So Zeralski and Bridgeman technique employ also is a crystal growth from melt method. The Bridgeman method to the crucible containing the molten material is translated along the axis of a temperature gradient in a furnace, whereas in Stocker-Berger technique it's just modification to the form of Bridgeman technique in the form of high temperature zone and adiabatic loss zone and low temperature zone. There is 3 to the form in that. So this is a diagram of Bridgeman technique. So the lower welding is formed to the maintain of the molten state in a particular temperature. The drum and lid is a top. The upper welding is a connected and lower welding is also to be connected to the maintaining the temperature at a degree of Celsius. Then buffer and melted state and crystal state is formed in different in middle of the flow of pulleys. So the principle of Bridgeman technique is a direct solidification by translating a melt form the hot zone to the cold zone of the furnace. The first polycrystalline material, it's a form of crucible, need to be melted completely in the hot zone and to be formed of in a seed at the bottom of the crucibles. So the seed is a place of piece of crystal, is a form of single nature and ensure the single crystal growth along the certain crystallographic orientations. Then a part of seed will be remelted after the connect with a melt state to provide a fresh interface of the crystal growth. So the crucible is then translated to the form of slowly into the cooler section of the furnace. Then temperature of the bottom end in a crucible fall below the solidification temperature. So the molten seed interface is changed from that the thickness of the crystals. After the whole crucible is translated through the cold zone to the entire melt converted in a solid single crystal zone. So this technique to the form of implemented in a either vertical or horizontal system configurations. This 2 configuration is similar. The vertical Bridgeman technique, the growth of crystal in a circular shape, unlike the D-shaped into grown by horizontal techniques. So they exhibit in a high quality of the crystal to the form of low dislocation density to created from this techniques. So instead the moving of the crucible, the furnace can be translated from the seed end. Its manner of directional solidification can be achieved and further modification. So gradient freezing technique It's a form of crucible. The temperature gradient is maintained. So this system is maintained the same temperature gradient. The liquid solid interface it's changed from the location with time during in the growth of the crystals. So the Bridgeman technique, the gradient freezing technique, can also be realized in vertical and horizontal configurations. So the advantages is a relatively cheaper, simple technique, melt composition, thermal gradient is easily minimized. And disadvantages, growth rate is very low. Then sometimes it's instead of a single crystal to converted in a polycrystalline. So this is a reference I prepared from the PPT. Thank you very much. We discuss in the next topic in the next presentation.